So how do we add text in a 360-degree environment? Well, we do it just like you always add text. And by that, I mean going up to the menu bar, File, New, and I'll choose the legacy title here. Give it a name, call this Sample 360 Text, hit my Enter key, and up pops the text creation dialog box. So I'll just click on the frame here, and for lack of better creativity, I'll just go ahead and type in 360 sample text. Brilliant. Now I'm going to choose a title style from this, so I'll just give the top left button a click, the selection tool. Then I'll come down to the title styles here, and I'll choose a style that we can see really well inside our frame. Also going to make it bigger just by dragging the corner here, and quick tip, to keep the constraints, I'm just going to hold my Shift key, which will constrain the proportions and the text won't look all squished up. All right, I'll center this a little, and I'm going to choose this red option right here. And just to get a little fancy, I'll come over to the font family, and I'm going to choose PT Sans. Okay, so I've created the text. I'm going to close this box just by clicking the little X in the top. And now when I come back to the project's media bin, I'll see it right here, Sample 360 Text. And I'll drag it right into the sequence right above this second clip, and also above the Pluralsight logo, which we added before. So that'll leave us with two 3D items inside of one shot. And notice when I put it in, by default, I'm seeing it curved because the title, being native to the actual program, Premiere Pro, understands there is something interesting about this clip. Because of the metadata, it understands that it's an equilateral video, and because of that, it's giving it a curve. But watch what happens when I turn off the VR toggle switch. It's still flat. And in juxtaposition, we see the logo in the background right next to the building. And that one is following the 3D environment, and you can see it slightly curved on its 3D axis. So let's turn on the toggle again, and let's see if we can't conform this text the way the logo conformed. And by the way, that just looks so cool, having that logo right there. Let's do that to the text. So I'll come back into my effects browser, and I'm going to go back to the Skybox Project 2D option and drag that right onto the text. Okay, now we're cooking, because now I can actually modify this text just like I did with our logo. And just to confirm that it's part of the 3D environment now, I'll give the toggle switch on the VR another click. And if I toggle the Y-axis here in the Rotate Source option in our effects tools, I will see that it moves in 3D. So now I'm just going to play with manipulating the X-axis, the Y-axis for the Rotate Source, and also the projection, and see if I can't put this text in a place that might look interesting for the shot itself. And here's something, why don't I try to put this on top of the bus, or at least near it, on the same plane. Notice how I'm moving the source tilt and the source pan in order to bring it forward or push it backwards. That way it looks like it's behind that light post here in the center, but at the same time, it's hovering a little bit over the bus. So I'm trying to avoid touching the light post in order to make it look like it's behind it. And obviously this is easier said than done in a 360 environment. But as you can see, just tweaking this, I can move it throughout the 3D space and make it a part of the actual environment itself. Now here's a quick note on something about text. The title creation box that we were using earlier to generate this text, that box is still useful. And I'll show you what I mean. If I go back to my project bin, I'll double click on the Sample 360 text. Notice how when I move the text inside this box, it also moves on my screen. So if I find the plane that I want to put this text in, and by that I mean the Z-axis and the Y-axis and the X-axis in 3D space, I can simply use this box to manipulate the 2D environment that that plane sits on. So the up, down, left, right. And when you put those two tools together, it really helps you place this text in the appropriate space. So notice I'm just moving it inside the title box, and I can even reshape it a little. And as I do that, it moves within a 2D realm in our 3D space. Then I can come back to our 3D tools inside of our effects controls and further manipulate where it's sitting in the 3D environment. And just to check it out, I'll click the VR toggle switch. Oh, very cool. Looks like it's a landmark on that street. I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit so we can see what's going on with it. Yeah, so it looks like it's actually part of the street. Not too bad. So clearly we could sit here and play with this all day, but I think you get the idea. The key takeaway here is that title generation and logos are both considered 2D objects to Premiere Pro. So by adding the Project 2D from Skybox, we're able to take that 2D element and make it aware of the 360-degree environment. From there, we can place it wherever we want to within the 360 world in 3D space. Very cool.